The objective for this video is to multiply polynomials. I'm going to show you a variety of methods for you to use for multiplying polynomials. On the video, as you work through it, I would like for you to attempt each of the different methods that I'm showing you so that hopefully one of them will stick out more than the others for you, maybe make more sense to you. And on quizzes and tests, you'll be allowed to use whichever method works best for you. I'm not going to specify which method you have to use, but I would like for you to try each of the different methods on here because you may not have tried these before and they might work better for you than you thought. So in order to multiply polynomials, you have to have the distributive property down. So we're going to kind of review that quickly. So if I want to multiply 4y squared, this monomial, times this binomial y squared plus 3, I need to distribute the 4y squared to each term in parentheses. So when I multiply 4y squared to y squared, I get 4y to the fourth. Then I need to multiply 4y squared to 3, so I get positive 12y squared. We're going to go ahead and work through this one the same way, only now we have two variables. I have f and g. So when I multiply f and g times f to the fourth, I have f to the fifth g. So that's my first term. Then I'm going to distribute the fg to the 2f to the third g. When I do that, I get a positive 2f to the fourth g squared. Multiply fg times negative 3f squared g squared, and I get negative 3f to the third g to the third. Then I'm going to distribute the fg to the fg to the third, and I get a positive f squared g to the fourth. So this was kind of a quick review on how to distribute a monomial to a binomial. On this next example, I would like for you to try them on your own. So I want you to pause the video, but then when you're done trying it out, then go ahead and play the video again and I'll show you the answer. So we'll do that for part A. So go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, hopefully you've had a chance to work through part A. If you did, then I hope that you got 12c to the third d to the third minus 18c squared d to the third plus 42c squared d to the fourth. If you didn't get this as your answer, try to go back through now that you know the answer and see if you can figure out where your mistake was. Once you have the correct answer, I'd like for you to do the same thing for part B. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and when you're done, come back and check the answer. Alright, so the answer to part B is 6x squared y to the fourth plus x squared y to the third minus 28x squared y squared plus 30x squared y. Again, if you got the correct answer, great, we're ready to move on. If you didn't get this answer, go back now and look at it and see if you can figure out where your mistake was. So that was all a review on the distributive property. Now we're ready to multiply larger polynomials, something bigger than a monomial. So here we have a binomial times a trinomial. So I'm going to show you two examples or methods for multiplying this exact thing. The first one that we're going to look at is called the horizontal method. So to do this method, we're going to write each of our polynomials in standard form. This first one was already in standard form, a minus 3. We have the degree of 1 and a degree of 0. Don't worry about the colors here. I've color-coded this so that in the next step you can see where each of them came from. On this one, when I write it in standard form, I need to find the largest exponent, which is a 2, and write that first, and then go on from there. So now that I have each in standard form, I'm ready to go ahead and get started. I'm going to distribute the a to each term in the second set of parentheses. Once I do that, then I'll distribute the negative 3 to each term in the second set of parentheses. So that's what I've done here. I have a times a squared. The next one is a times negative 5a, and then a times 2. After I've distributed the a, then I go through and I distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times a squared, negative 3 times negative 5a, and negative 3 times 2. Now I'm ready to actually go through and multiply each of these. So a times a squared is a to the third. A times negative 5a is negative 5a squared. A times 2 is 2a. Negative 3 times a squared is negative 3a squared. Negative 3 times negative 5a is positive 15a, and then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6a. negative 6. My last step then is to combine all of my like terms. So I don't have any other a cubed, so that one I leave alone. Then I have a negative 5a squared and a negative 3a squared. That's negative 8a squared. I have a 2a and a 15a for 17a, and then I don't have any other constants, so I just have my negative 6. So that was the horizontal method. Now we're going to take this exact same problem, and we're going to try it again doing the vertical method. So to do that, we still need to rewrite these in standard form. I'm going to start with the trinomial first. So here's my trinomial in standard form, a squared minus 5a plus 2. Then I'm going to put my binomial underneath it. Notice my constants are lined up, and then my linear terms are lined up. So when I go to multiply, I'm going to take the negative 3, and I'm going to multiply it to each term above, just like when you were doing multiplication the long way in elementary school. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, negative 3 times negative 5a is a positive 15a, negative 3 times a squared is negative 3a squared. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the exact same thing again, only this time I'm going to multiply the a. So when I do that, a times 2 is 2a, but I'm not going to write it here. I'm going to line it up under my other a term. Then I do a times negative 5a is negative 5a squared, so I'm going to line that up, and then a times a squared is a to the third. Now these are already set up so that the like terms are right on top of each other. So when I add them together, there aren't any other a cubed, so I bring that down. Negative 3a squared minus 5a squared is negative 8a squared. 15a plus 2a is 17a, and then I don't have any other constants, so I'm just going to bring down the negative 6. So I got the exact same answer, but I've tried it in a different method. As we get to larger problems, like a trinomial times a trinomial, sometimes it's more helpful to have a table to help you kind of keep yourself organized. So we're going to try using that method, the table method. So we're going to start by drawing a 3 by 3 table, and we got the 3 because of how many terms were in each polynomial. So this first polynomial, y squared, goes here. Then I have the negative 7y goes in my next box, and the 5 goes on the last one. Then going across the top, I'm going to put my second trinomial. So I have y squared over the first box, negative y over the second box, and then the constant negative 3 over the last box. When I multiply these together, I'll do y squared times y squared would go here. If I wanted to get the answer here, I would do the negative 3 times the negative 7y. So when I multiply each of these, I'll fill in my box. So like I said, y squared times y squared is y to the fourth. Y squared times negative 7y is negative 7y to the third. Y squared times 5 is 5y squared. So that's how we filled out the box. Now I've gone ahead and color-coded all of my like terms. So everything to the fourth is in red, everything to the third is in pink, and so on. So my next step then is to combine all of my like terms. So I've shown them here all grouped together. I have all the fourths, all of the degrees of 3, the degrees of 2, and so on. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to combine them. There aren't any more fourths, so it's just y to the fourth. Then when I do negative 7y to the third minus y to the third, I have negative 8y to the third, and I'm going to do that for each of these groups. So my final answer is y to the fourth minus 8y to the third plus 9y squared plus 16y minus 15. So now I want you to try this one on your own. So I'm going to help you set up your table. So we have a 3 by 3. I've taken my first polynomial and written it, the first one I wrote horizontally. It doesn't matter. I went the other way on the last one, but it doesn't matter which one you do where. So the first one I wrote across the top. The second one, this time I put down the side. And I want you to go ahead and fill in the box. Then go through and combine all of your like terms. So I'm going to give you a chance to do that, so pause the video, and when you're done, come back and I'll show you the answer. Alright, hopefully you were able to fill out your box, combine all your like terms, and your final answer then would be x to the fourth plus x to the third minus 21x squared plus 13x minus 2. If you didn't get the right answer, I want you to go back, see if you can find your mistake now that you know what the answer should look like. So now for your homework, I want you to go ahead and work through the problems that are on the screen to the right.